Welcome to The Chatter, your end of the week ear candy for what to eat, drink, see, and do in Richmond, Virginia, right damn now.
The Richmond Experience is independently owned and created by locals, us, for locals, you. From recent openings and the latest trends to time-tested traditions and hidden gems, we're here to help you experience the very best that RVA has to offer.
Hi, I'm Paige, RVAX owner and chief marketing officer. I'm the face you'll see in front of the scenes on Instagram and TikTok, taking you to the latest and greatest hotspots around town.
And I'm Kelsey, RVAX owner and editor-in-chief, working behind the scenes on your Wednesday and Thursday newsletters, the Weekly Insider and the Weekender, and City Guides.
Kelsey, I just almost cried.
I'm already tearing up, you guys. Honestly, I can't. Oh my gosh!
It's a very exciting day. Paige, should we introduce? We have a special guest.
Yes, if you haven't heard, we have Sam, the former owner and founder of the Richmond Experience.
Ms. Kanipe, how are you? Hi.
So good. Congratulations. I'm so very excited for the two of you. This is such an exciting journey, and I can't wait to see what you guys do.
It's so exciting. We were talking in a team meeting recently, and I was saying it's like it feels almost like a graduation kind of sentiment where it's like, of course, it's all very exciting confetti, but it's also like kind of like, I don't know, I'm going to be emotional.
Wait, does this mean I'm retiring?
It's like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Am I?
Oh, graduation. You're just getting out of college. You're, going into the big city, things like that. That's the vibe.
I am so excited. It sounds amazing to hear you both say owners. It's so thrilling. I cannot imagine two better people suited to take over the Richmond Experience. We're so excited for all of the fun things that you guys have planned for the Richmond Experience in this new chapter. So I'm thrilled.
Thank you. We are so excited. Can you lead us to what kind of led us here? Kelsey and I came on now. It's been almost 3 years. Mm-hmm. You and Sean, your husband, founded the Richmond Experience in 2017. So can you just take us on a little journey of, how this started, maybe what your goals were, and then just how it ended up to be where it is today?
How we got here.
In your hands, in your very capable hands. Absolutely. So we founded the Richmond Experience in 2017, and it started out as an Instagram page. We found we were both new to the city and exploring. And this was back when, there was no development in Scott's Addition. There was a couple of, this was back in the days where it was only Isley and lunch and supper, and basically nothing else existed. And if you can remember those times, it's vastly different than it is now. But the city was in a huge growth mode, and we were new, and we were trying to navigate our way around Richmond, and we weren't really finding any resources to help us. Where do we go? What do we do? What's the vibe? We were relying a lot on Google and Yelp, and we didn't feel like those resources were giving us the information that we needed. And a lot of the existing resources and publications in this space seemed outdated in terms of just restaurants and things move so quickly in the city of Richmond. Things open, things close, and we couldn't find what we needed. So we started our own thing. And originally it was supposed to just be a small Instagram page where we sort of just chronicle our adventures around the city. And within a couple of months, very quickly grew into this huge social platform where we were connecting with all these people around the city and providing recommendations. We were meeting a lot of other people who either were transplants just like us or had been in the city for a long time and maybe were just moving back after college or whatever the case might be. And that reaffirmed for us that there was a significant need for it. And then over the years, it really just organically grew. We decided that a website would be helpful, that maybe a newsletter to reach out to people. Things are always changing so fast on social media. And so content was being missed. Guys, this was back before Instagram even had the save function. So you would see something, and this was before Instagram stories. You would see something and be like, oh, I love that. And then, the next day you couldn't find it on your feed at all. And so we were getting inundated with messages from people like, where was that one place that you guys went to the other night? And, after going through like hundreds literally of DMs, I was like, we need a better way to do this. And so that's really been the story from the jump, is that it started off as something that we just felt like we needed and that could be helpful to other people, and has now grown into a full-blown operation with Instagram and our newsletters and our membership, and working with all of these local businesses. Like, the amount of people that we've gotten to work with and meet has been incredible. And then, of course, when the pandemic hit, we weren't sure what was going to happen. At that time, we had brought on our first full-time employee, and that was tremendously helpful. We were also having our first kid at that time. We have two now. I don't know. We're not on social media these days. So for anybody in the audience that doesn't know, Sloan came in June of 2020 during the pandemic. And then we had our son in January of 2022, and then decided to relocate back to New Jersey to be closer to family. So along this journey, we brought on Paige and Kelsey to the team. Coincidentally, you both started right around the same time and have made tremendous strides in connecting with the Richmond Experience audience and growing all of the awesome things that we're able to offer to folks. And so, as we've gotten settled here in New Jersey, and we've started looking out 5-10 years down the road, and also taking into consideration like how you guys are living there, and Paige just bought a house, as a lot of you folks know, and Kelsey's starting her family, and all of these exciting things are happening. And you're so deeply involved in the Richmond community that we felt like it made natural sense to sort of pass the torch. So we're really excited for you guys, and obviously this will always be very near and dear to our hearts, and we're so proud of all of the work and all of the connections that we've made with everybody. And we're really excited for the next chapter. That's it,
It's
guys.
wild. I feel like
it's been a roller coaster.
I know, it's so much. I'm sure too, Paige, like you had a similar experience, like as you're describing like how you guys started and when and all of that, like from the fans like point of view, that's exactly how I like came upon you guys. I was moving from San Diego to the Richmond area. We didn't know that much about Richmond at the time and just needed like a resource. In my mind, you guys are like the first of, that type of media that's like sort of like giving the locals point of view of different restaurants and stuff. And then like I've just been a fan ever since, and then of course was reaching out to be like a writer, and then got on board in one way and another, like just the step that just kept snowballing in the best way. And I feel like coming from a fan, it's just so exciting to hear you describe it that way. That's exactly how I observed it. I feel like probably the same for you too, Paige.
Yeah, pretty much exactly the same. I used it as a resource, and I remember when Sam, you were on more, but then I deeply remember like Alicia. That was during the COVID. I used you guys as a resource all through COVID to navigate, to figure out which restaurants to support and how to help the community. And that's when I reached out, was during COVID, because I was bored and I was like, hey, you guys don't have any wine guides.
Yeah, and just put the pedal to the metal.
Yeah. How can I write? And so same thing. I was a big fan, and it had always been my dream to work for the Richmond Experience. So now it's just surreal. I'm just shook.
It's really like Paige and I vividly remember like
I love it.
I know. Oh my gosh. I vividly remember like Paige and I getting together for like our first like team like happy hour just to meet each other. And we were both just doing like that excited like squeal thing. Like, can you even believe this is happening? And now I feel like I'm doing that again in a different way. It's all very like a wonderful like growth, experience. It's been amazing. And it's amazing to hear you talk about how much you have done from the very beginning, Sam. It's incredible.
Yes. I feel like I read every now and then. I'll read like CEO memoirs, or I listen to like the podcast, like how it's made or how it works kind of thing. And I feel like it always is the same thing, right? Like nobody actually knows what they're doing. Like we're all just trying to figure it out, right? Like when you start your first business, like it's your first business that you're starting. You have no idea what you're doing, and you're just like learning as you go. So I guess this is my little like bit of like, if you're listening and you've been thinking about going after something that you want to start, like, don't be afraid, go do it. You have the tools. Thank God for the internet and, community resources. We relied a lot on mentorship programs that are available in Richmond. We learned a lot from a lot of folks that are there that support small businesses. So if you are thinking about starting something, just go for it.
Just try. Give yourself a try. You may as well.
Yep.
That's fantastic. So when you were talking to at the top about how you guys got started, when do you feel like you knew that it was starting to turn into something? Did people start reaching out to you more and more? And that's sort of when you were kind of thinking okay, I think let's make this into a more formal resource.
Yeah, it was it happened slowly and all at once at the same time, right? I was working a full-time job in commercial
Right.
real estate and development for a firm that was in downtown Richmond. And, between balancing that and running the Richmond Experience and connecting with so many people, like I said, the influx of DMs that we get on a daily basis was becoming so unmanageable of trying to respond to everyone. And then at that point, we were having local businesses reaching out to us as well. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm working 60 or 70 hours a week, every week. This is just crazy between two jobs. And so it was, of course, terrifying. It's how do you leave the corporate world to go out on your own, right? But you just have to take that leap of faith. And I think you guys can certainly probably identify with that too. I know that you both come from backgrounds where you were working in more formal environments, and now have been with us on our tiny but very mighty team at the Richmond Experience, and now you're taking it over. So I'm sure you can totally identify with these feelings.
Yeah. Paige, I know we've touched on that with your education background.
Yeah, I just remember being so unhappy, and I woke up one day and I was like, I can't do this anymore. Why am I doing this? Life is so short. There are a million other jobs that you can do. I don't know. I think society does kind of make you feel like you are stuck, at least in education, but really you have all the skills you need to kind of do whatever you need to do. And you can always go back to school. You could always take more classes. So, I mean, everything that I've been doing in social media has kind of been self-taught as I've gone.
Yeah. But we've talked too, though, how your education background, I feel lends itself very well to what you do also, though, Paige.
Yeah, it's a lot of emails. I don't think a lot of folks know how many emails we send on a weekly basis.
All of that, but then also you're teaching a whole audience of, fans or viewers about different things in the area. And you're very good at getting the information to be digestible, I feel like.
Well, thanks, Kels.
Yeah.
You're an amazing writer.
Oh my gosh, thanks. But I completely understand where you're coming from with that too. Sam, when you were saying, I think that's another good thing for people to know. You were still working your 9-to-5 job at the time when you started this. So it's not you have to do this daunting thing where you completely leave everything behind and start on this idea you've always had. Just sort of collect shells or something to that effect, where you're sort of doing a couple of pieces of the puzzle at a time, and then eventually it'll bloom into something where you actually can stabilize yourself into something more solid. And that's definitely where Paige and I both, I feel with starting as contributing writers, we're able to build on top of that. We were building relationships with you at that time, and then things kind of fell into place perfectly. And here we are.
Kelsey,
I take tiny steps. I'm
so glad that you ended up at the Richmond Experience and not at the Gentlemen's Club doing their social media. So, thank you.
Oh my gosh.
Listen, speaking of baby steps, look, that's another way. You got to go in there and ask everybody, do you need a writer? Famously within our team meeting, I explained one time that I did go over to a gentleman's club in Scott's Addition to their front of house. Listen, I'm a writer. I can write for you guys. It was 2 a.m. on a Saturday, so they weren't really reviewing applications, but they knew who I was.
Oh, that is too
funny. So happy it all came together.
Okay. Paper Moon, shout out. We love you over here.
Yes, for sure.
You just got to take the baby steps, and you got to ask, just ask. I mean, that's what I did too, reaching out. I know on our website, we are always recruiting contributing writers, we always say we're looking for like different voices to chime in on the conversation. So I just reached out like, hey, I'd love to write for you guys if you have any like, availability. And then, if one thing leads to another, you just got to ask.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, one more question before we dig in. What do you hope to see us do with the Richmond Experience in the future?
I really hope that you guys look back 3 years, 5 years, 10 years down the line, and you're just so happy. Like, ultimately, I just hope that this journey for you is like something that you look back on and that you're like, I'm so glad we took this leap of faith. I'm so glad that we bet on ourselves and took the opportunity and the chance to continue building something and really make it your own. I would love to see where you guys take it. I mean, I think everybody here listening in our audience knows like this podcast is something that you guys have sort of, nurtured from infancy and have grown. So it's been really exciting to see. And I think it's been massively successful. And so I think there's going to be other projects down the line that you guys will come across that I have total faith that you'll accomplish and love. So it's been like, I truly feel so like, I feel like I'm going to cry, but I feel like so grateful because like being a small business owner and like working for yourself and being able to support the Richmond community and support local businesses and do all of the work that we do with these nonprofits, like I literally cannot think of a better job, if you even want to call it a job, to have. So I just like hope you guys look back and you're like, oh my gosh, I loved it. It's been so fun. And it's like been the best experience because that's how I feel.
Yeah, for sure.
I love that.
Yeah.
And
It is a very rewarding job.
Absolutely. And I think Paige and I too, in like these last conversations over these past couple of months, we have absolutely been, we're excited to sort of like try different things like at the helm now, but it's very important to us to sort of lead with what you guys have already put down roots for, where it's like you're supporting the Richmond community, you're working with small businesses, local businesses. But I think about that a lot, how it's like, I can't believe my job is writing about, talking to like these different small local businesses like ours, where it's just like, you're just trying to like make an impact on the Richmond community. It's fantastic. And Paige and I are definitely excited to like keep that main thread like through.
Totally.
Yeah. Let's get into it then. We'd love to hear what you recommend, Sam, of what to eat, drink, see, and do in RVA. So let's start with eat.
Awesome. So I was thinking, it's like fall time and I know it's not gotten super cool in Richmond yet, but I've been so all about just like the comfort food of like what makes me feel good and what makes me like when I want to just like take a pause and rest, like what am I reaching for? And the first thing that came to my mind was Chicken Fiesta. They've been around for a long time. They have a bunch of different locations around Richmond and it's just like that food that you're like, it's so nourishing. It's so delicious. They make it fresh every day. Like you walk in and you see the rotisserie chickens and it's just like anything that I've ever had there has been amazing. And I feel like anytime that when I was living in Richmond that we had people come and visit, of course we did like all of the like staple fancy restaurants, but it's like sometimes you just want great food. Like you just want like no fuss and something that you love. The other thing that I love about Chicken Fiestas is like they make the most amazing chicken soup. So like if you're not feeling great, if you're having a cold over the fall, if the weather starts to get cold and you're just like, I need something warm, that's like the go-to, in my opinion, is Chicken Fiesta. Plus it's like kids love it. You can grab it, especially like with the downtown location that's across from the museum. You can stop at the museum. You can go grab it on your way out. You can dine in. You can take it home. Like it's got a lot of opportunities. And I love their story too. Like they've been around for a long time, family owned and operated. And I feel like that's just like the, essence of Richmond, right? It's like these small businesses. He took a chance. He opened his first restaurant and now he's expanded. And it's so exciting. And I love to see that. So I'm voting for Chicken Fiesta to eat this week.
I do remember when I was sick one time, you were like, you have to go to Chicken Fiesta and get the chicken noodle soup.
Mhm.
I'll like always remember that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Now it has to be one of my go-tos. When I worked over, I mean, I was over at that DMV location downtown. I would get lunch at Chicken Fiesta all the time. They're delish. They're even good for just like a quick chips and guacamole situation.
Yeah. I mean, you just go in and like get a rotisserie chicken and rice, and it's like, what more could you possibly want in life, guys? Come
Yeah,
on.
Yeah.
tasty.
So good.
And don't they have
Mm.
like a lot of sauces too that are really good?
Oh my gosh. So
I remember.
their yellow
Yeah.
sauce is like, I think like people can just like totally drink it. I don't know what's in it. I don't know if anybody knows what's in it. Like, but it's amazing. I literally like don't see it often at other places, but like whatever it is, I'm like, give me 4 containers. I need to dip every single thing that I'm eating in it. It's so good. So, so good.
Mm.
Mm.
Yep.
All right.
Fantastic recommendation.
Thank you.
Yes, it's on our list.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And what to drink?
All right. So for drink, I was going back and forth because I was like, oh my gosh, we have all these like wonderful fall harvest lattes that are out now. It's like the season for warm sipping. But at the same time, I was also like, I don't know. I just like love a good fruit smoothie or juice. And I don't drink anymore. I don't know if a lot of our folks know that, but do not drink alcohol anymore. So there are a lot of places that have great mocktails. So that was like on my list too of like, do we go mocktail? But I wanted to shout out this spot because we used to live close by to it. We walk to it all the time. It always has like a community feel. And that would be North End Juice Co. And we just love, again, their story. Channing was living in Miami and his mom was here in Virginia, and he came up to visit and noticed that there wasn't any juice spots at that time. I mean, this again was years ago. And started with a little cart, and then next thing you knew, he had a location here on Shepherd Street, and just it's been great. Like their sandwiches and wraps are great. You can go for snacks. I don't know. There's something about like walking to get a juice that just makes my heart so happy. So that's my recommendation for drink this week.
I do need to get over there more. It's a spot that like I'll frequent every once in a while, but I really wish it was like on my rotation to go more. I like the bowls.
Yeah.
I was going to say they've got a lot of good like fresh ingredient bowl options too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
They're good.
like,
And I think it's also
oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, echo what you said too. It's a good way to sort of like break up, like the delicious festive coffees and stuff are great this time of year, but it's kind of a good way to sort of break that up.
And they have a smashing pumpkin.
Oh, so break it up, but not too much.
Yeah. They have a seasonal smoothie, so it's calling our name.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, their like wellness shots are really great too. Like I feel like I, every now and then would be like, let me grab one of those, and they're all fresh made like right there. So it's like, again, all for like healthy, fresh, just, it's so good. I like want one now that I'm talking about it. Can I get a delivery? Does DoorDash deliver?
We're going to package all of this together in a box for you, Sam. We'll send it your way. All right. Well, perfect. Well, let's move on to see and do then. Sam, what should we be seeing in the coming days and weeks?
I definitely think that you should be seeing Garden Glow at Maymont. I was like, oh my gosh, there's so many amazing things. Like, what do I pick for C? It's so hard. It's literally so hard to narrow this down, you guys. It was like, I had like 10 things. Yeah. I was like, all right, I really need to like, narrow this down. But I chose Garden Glow because it's just, it's just opening up. It's through Maymont. They have a lot of new and exciting things happening at Garden Glow this year. It's just like such a classic thing to do for the fall. It's so accessible. They do schedule time slots. So if you are listening to this and you're interested in checking it out, I definitely recommend that you jump online and grab tickets. But it's just like something so fun to do. Like you can go by yourself, you can grab some girlfriends and go, you can go on a cute little date, you could take the family. It's super family friendly. And it's just stunning. Like the way that they set everything up, it's like you have to see it just in person. The pictures don't do it justice at all. And they have swings this year, which sounds so fun. I know.
I'm so excited.
Mm-hmm.
It's like my favorite fall event. I'm going on Wednesday. I can't. I can't wait.
Like, do you already have your visit on the calendar? Paige, did you see too when you were at Maymont recently? I know you were there, like seeing it being like set up. Did you see these swings, or were they not ready?
I did not see the swings, but I didn't really peek it's expanded a lot. It's always on the carriage house lawn, but usually it doesn't go past that. And now it's going towards the nature center, all in
Okay.
those little hills. And there are
Yeah.
like these big flowers. It's going to be gorgeous.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I'm like obsessed. It's one of my favorite things. So
It
And
really
they
is the
make it
best. I can't
such
wait
an
to get over there too.
experience, right? Like you have the village,
yeah,
you have the hot chocolate, you could do the s'mores, you could do the swings. Like it's so interactive that you can literally like navigate all around and like really enjoy it. It's not like you're just like gonna go and be like, okay, here's some lights, and you like walk through and you're done. There's so much to do. So it's like a really nice
No,
way to
there,
spend an evening in the fall.
yeah, you could be there forever. There's so much to see.
Yep.
Yeah, and like the little fire pits and s'more
Mhm.
kits. I mean, it is adorable. And I think this year I read there's going to be over 20 different food trucks. So if you like have
Ooh.
a particular food truck you love, you can see when they're going to be, and they have like a whole food truck schedule. It's getting like so organized, and it's an amazing event.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. I'm so excited. Paige, do you have like parking tips too? I feel like the last couple of years when I've tried to go, it's like being early is my only tip.
Yeah, so typically I've gone right at 6, but this year I'm going later. I'm going at 8
Mm.
because I really want it to be dark.
Yeah.
Before it was like a little twilighty. And so I usually just park in the neighborhood area over that
Okay.
way. And I just try, and I park kind of far, and I just kind of walk.
Yeah.
Yeah, there
It's
you go.
worth
Do a
it to
little
me.
stroll before the stroll. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
I
I
think
feel
we
like
dropped
they're,
in our notes if anybody is looking at that, what address to use, because I know Maymont
oh
has
yeah.
tons of different entrances. So definitely make sure you jump on their website and check and verify which entrance that you need to be going to, because I think that'll be really helpful as well. But obviously things like biking and public transportation really helps alleviate parking issues.
Yeah, for sure. That we can drop that in the show notes too, and so that people know exactly where to go, because it is so expansive. So it's sort of like hard to navigate, especially if it's your first year.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Yeah.
Another great recommendation.
Thank you.
Okay, well, speaking of bikes, Sam, what do you say for do?
I'm saying you do need to bike around Richmond. Like literally when we moved to Scott's Addition, we didn't have bikes. And then I think it was like shortly before COVID hit when like everybody was like, the COVID hit and everybody's like, let's get bikes, but we started biking around Richmond. And even though we had like walked and Ubered and traveled all around Richmond in various neighborhoods, like it wasn't until we got on bikes and started biking around the city that like we really started to notice a lot of things. And it's just like become such a bike friendly city over the years. The weather is still so beautiful for it. And I just feel like it's such a fun way to explore it. And if you're not super comfortable like biking on the roads, there are trails that you can go to bike like safely on the trails around Richmond. If you prefer like not road cycling, we've gone basically from like near West End all the way downtown and back. And it's just like you see and notice so much more when you're on a bike. The other thing that I love is that there are like bike tours. Like you could, if you're like, I don't own a bike or whatever, there's bike rental options. There's bike tours available if you wanted to do like more of a formal tour. And then Breakaway RVA is like a monthly bike meetup where it's just free. You meet up at the designated location, and it's usually like a half hour to an hour ride. And then they always end up at a spot for like some sort of like networking and hanging out and like whatever afterwards, libations, if you will. They do a Halloween ride every year. I did just check the Breakaway RVA page to see if they're doing it this year. I haven't seen an announcement for it yet, but if you follow them on Instagram, they do one where everybody puts on their Halloween costumes and then jumps on the bikes and then does their loop around, which is so fun. And like we met a lot of awesome people through Breakaway RVA too. So highly recommend if you're going to do something around the city that you jump on a bike.
Oh yeah, that's
That's
super cute.
cute.
Paige, are you like, do you do a lot of biking? I know you're very into the trails.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have like a mountain bike, but I have a bike, but it definitely needs tuned up. It's been a minute. My goal always, every summer, it's on my summer bucket list, is to ride my bike on the Capitol Trail to Upper Shirley,
Right.
and I've yet to do it.
Yeah.
But it's
2025 is your
definitely
year, Paige.
yeah, that's my year. But no, I love biking. It's just, yeah, my bike just needs some new tires and some
A little
love.
tune-up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should
Yeah.
get out and bike more. You've inspired me now, Sam. This is great. We definitely did like some sort of tour like that early on when we moved to Richmond too. And it really is a great way to like, you can get to so many places and then like, in between so many places and stuff too, like you were saying, it's a great way to like see different parts of the city.
Yeah, and now truly like is one of the best times to bike in Richmond, right? Like it's not stifling hot. Like you don't want to be out biking in July when it's like close to 100 degrees and super humid and you're like
Right.
dying, right? Like it's gorgeous now to jump on your bike
Right.
and bike around the city. It's so, so nice. And I was in DC recently this weekend and we biked around and I was like, you just see so many more things than you would
Yeah.
if you were
Yeah.
driving in a car. And, obviously you could travel a little farther and faster when you're on a bike than walking. So you get to see like different neighborhoods. Like we would bike from our house over to, back when, the farmers markets before they've like all moved around, like we would bike to the farmers market on a Saturday morning. And that was like perfect, right? Like you got some physical activity and like you got to see the city. It's so beautiful biking over to like Forest Hill and Bryant Park and all of those things. We would just like throw our produce in our little basket and then bike back. And it's like, what better way to spend a Saturday,
Yeah. That's how you romanticize your life.
Safe. Right.
Yes. We love that.
Biking to the farmer's market on a Saturday. Like, hello.
No. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. So easy breezy. Amazing.
Well, those were great suggestions. We're definitely going to take
Fantastic.
those. And we just want to thank you again, Sam. I mean, thanks for trusting us. Thanks for joining us. I mean, we're not going anywhere. We hope we can still call you.
You can call me anytime. I'm not going anywhere. I'm so excited for you guys. I'm thrilled to be on the podcast. Like, oh my gosh, I feel like very honored to be on your podcast. This is so exciting.
I have to
You guys
say
have been
too, like when
nailing
we
it.
were,
I listen every week. Like I'm the one that's fangirling now. We've totally just changed
oh my
roles,
gosh.
right?
But I have to tell you, Sam, like
Aw.
when we were talking about like, oh, what kind of, we at one point like polled people and we were like, who do you want to see us talk to? And your name was thrown in the ring, Sam. So
I love
people
it.
are, I mean, it's just fangirl city over here.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that
absolutely.
so much. I have like very, very lately been toying around with like, do I start an Instagram that's just like the fam to keep up with, and it's like I keep going back and forth. I haven't made a final decision on it yet, but if I do, I will definitely let the ether know. So I can connect
Yes.
with people because I feel like I've missed so many people and I've got to see them like, in the interactions that I have had limitedly now because you guys have really taken over on social media and things like that. But it's always so good to connect with those people. And I'm always curious, like, I wonder what's going on with so-and-so. We've used to talk all the time. So maybe one day, you never know.
Right.
You just never know, guys.
No,
Yeah.
we're going to keep tabs, Sam. We're keeping tabs.
Love that.
But yes, thank you so much, Sam. We have enjoyed our Richmond experience for years now. We're super excited for this Richmond experience. We feel beyond lucky to have gotten to work for and with you. So thank you so much for everything and for trusting us to take it forward. We're so excited.
You guys, thank you so much and congratulations.
Thank
Thank you.
All right, Paige, should we take it into the official wrap up?
Yes. Well, thanks for listening, Richmond. And by the way, there's more where that came from. Joining the Richmond Experience as a member is the best way to stay in the know about what's going on in RVA.
Not to worry, we refuse to sell you your info or bombard you with ads, but we do charge a small annual membership fee of $39 a year to fund our team so we can keep doing this awesome stuff. Plus, a portion of each annual membership purchase for the Richmond Experience goes to rotating nonprofits each month. That's like $1 per week to get an all-access pass to the best of RVA and lift up local orgs. It's a really, really good deal, friends. And listen, what are friends for anyway? Use code CHATTER to get $10 off your first year subscription.
Give us a follow on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at the Richmond Experience and on Instagram at the Chatter and RVA too. And if you enjoyed this episode, send it to your buds and rate, review, and subscribe.
And if you want to keep up with each of us, you can find me at Kelsey Heinz's Typing on Instagram.
And me, Sips and Trips with Paige on Instagram.
Chat with you next week, RVA. Bye, Sam.
Bye.